I want to give a vocabulary lesson this time. Not because I think you don't know the words, because I think you've been hearing them used wrong for so long, you started internalizing the wrong meaning. I have been listening to the words for 30 years. Older millennials have been hearing them since we were teenagers. Gen Z, you've been hearing them your entire life. They are the labels, the dismissals, the single word weapons that get used at family dinners and in op-eds and in headlines and across cable news to wave away anything we say about conditions that we are inside. Every single one of these words was built, engineered, tested. They didn't come from nowhere. They came from a specific class of people who needed a way to handle the noise of younger generations noticing what had been done to them. The words are the noise-canceling headphones. They work. They've been working for 40 years. I'm going to take them off tonight. Look at them and decide whether or not we want to keep wearing them. Gen Z, this one is for you and me both. Older millennials know all these words because we got hit with them first, in milder forms, before they were perfected. You're getting the perfected version. The ones aimed at you have been A/B tested in real time on us for 15 years. By the time the words got to you, they'd been refined into something sharper, faster, and more dismissive. You're taking the upgraded weapon. We took the prototype. Let me read the dictionary back to you the way they wrote it. Then let me read it back to you the way it actually reads. Entitled. Adjective. When they say it, they mean you expect a standard of living similar to what we had at your age. You are demanding things you have not earned. What it actually means. You have noticed that the system that produced their lifestyle has been dismantled. And you are asking why. Asking is not entitlement. Noticing is not entitlement. The thing they call entitlement is what used to be called basic literacy about your own economic position. Lazy. Adjective. When they say it, they mean you are not working as hard as I worked. You want shortcuts. You want to be handed things. What it actually means. You are working multiple jobs at wages that have not tracked inflation since 1978 in a labor market they deregulated for employers who eliminated the benefits and protections their generation took for granted. Your 3 gigs do not add up to one of theirs. They mistake your math problem for your character flaw. That is not laziness. That is math. Soft. Adjective. When they say it, they mean you are emotionally fragile. You cannot handle the real world. You retreat to feelings instead of facing facts. What it actually means. You are the first generation honest enough to admit that the conditions are crushing and that pretending otherwise is not toughness. It is denial. Their generation handled the same stress by drinking, by working themselves to early death, by not speaking to their children about anything important. You've decided to name the thing instead of dying inside it. That is the opposite of soft. Snowflake. Noun. When they say it, they mean you think you are special. You melt at the slightest pressure. You demand that the world conform to you. What it actually means. You have refused to laugh at jokes that previous generations laughed at because the people in those jokes were not in the room. You expect human beings to be treated like human beings. They have decided that this expectation is so radical it requires a slur. And the slur is the most effective tell that the person using it has noticed they are losing the argument. Burnt out. Phrase. When they say it, they mean you cannot handle a full workload. Real adults push through. We didn't have time to be tired. What it actually means. You're exhausted from being inside an extraction machine they helped design and refuse to fix. The real adults they describe are dying earlier than the generation before them. The toughness was always a coping mechanism. You are coping more honestly. The honesty embarrasses them. I want you to notice something about all 5 of those words. They share a structure. They are all words that take something accurate about your generation or my generation and reframe it as a character flaw. The accuracy is the thing they cannot tolerate, so they translate it into a defect. You notice the system is broken. They call you entitled. You are working 3 jobs. They call you lazy. You named your stress out loud. They called you soft. You expect basic dignity. They call you a snowflake. You are tired from doing the work they pretend nobody is doing. They call you burnt out. This is not coincidence. This is a pattern. The pattern has a function. The function is to convert observation into pathology so that when you describe what is happening to you, the description itself becomes evidence of your defect. You cannot win that game. The game was designed so you cannot win it. The only way to play is to refuse to play it. Every dismissive word they hand you is a tool to convert your accuracy into your defect. Stop accepting the trade. I want to talk about how to refuse to play because just naming the trick is not enough. The trick still works on you when nobody's around. It works on me. I've been hearing some of these words my whole adult life, and on bad days, they still find their way in. The voice in your head that says, maybe I am being lazy. Maybe I am being soft. Maybe I am the problem. That voice was installed. It did not come from inside you. It was put there by 30 years of the same words being repeated. We are not paranoid for noticing it. We are observant. Here's how to refuse the trade. 3 things. 1. When somebody uses one of those words on you, ask them to define it. Not aggressively, just plainly. What do you mean by entitled? What specifically do you mean? Make them say it out loud. Most of them cannot, because the word is doing the work that the speaker does not actually want to articulate. The word is shorthand for, I want you to stop talking. Make them say the long version. The long version usually does not survive being said out loud. 2. Replace their word with the accurate one in your own head. They say entitled, you hear noticing. They say lazy, you hear doing the math. They say soft, you hear honest. This is not denial, this is translation. You're not pretending the word does not exist. You're translating it from their dialect to yours. Their dialect was built to dismiss you. Yours is built to describe what has actually happened. 3. Use the words on the right people. The boomer elite who calls a 22-year-old delivery driver lazy is the actual lazy one. They have not done a hard day's work since 1989, and they've spent the years since then collecting passive income from assets that compound while they sleep. The op-ed columnist who calls Gen Z entitled is the entitled one. They expect you to listen to them lecture you from inside a financial situation you will never have access to. The senator who calls you Snowflake is the snowflake. They melt the second you point out that their voting record is public. Use the words on the people they actually describe. Most of those people are not us. Most of those people are them. The words have been pointed at us for so long that pointing them back feels strange. Do it anyway. The words fit. We just have not been allowed to use them in the right direction. Lazy is collecting passive income from assets you didn't build and lecturing the people working 3 jobs. Use the word correctly. One last thing before I close. Because I want to give you a word they cannot take, that we get to keep, that we earned by being on the receiving end of the other 5. The word is clear-eyed. That is what you are. You are clear-eyed. You can see the conditions. You can do the math. You can name the structure. You can refuse the lectures. You can identify the people lecturing you and notice that their authority is mostly inheritance and their analysis is mostly insulation. None of this requires anger. None of it requires being mean. It just requires looking at what is in front of you and describing it accurately. That is clear-eyed. That is the word for what we are. They will try to take this word too eventually. We will keep it as long as we can. And to my fellow millennials, especially the older ones, I know it is tempting to be tired. We've been hearing these words for 2.5 decades. We've absorbed them. Some of us have started to use them on Gen Z because we got hit with them so much we forgot we hated them. Stop doing that. Every time an older millennial calls a Gen Zer entitled, they're doing the elite's work for them, for free on autopilot. Gen Z is not entitled. They are the youngest version of us. They are us 15 years later, with worse conditions and better vocabulary. We owe them better than recycling the labels we hated when they were used on us. And Gen Z, when an older millennial does this, and some of us will on bad days until we catch ourselves, call it out, calmly, with definitions. Same way you would do it to anyone else. We will appreciate it. The ones who get defensive about it are showing you something about themselves. Listen to what they show you and adjust accordingly. The dictionary they handed us is full. The pages are dog-eared. They have been using the same 6 or 7 words on every younger generation since the late 70s. The words still mostly work because we keep agreeing to use them on each other. We do not have to keep agreeing. We can write a different dictionary. We're already writing it. In podcasts and group chats and TikToks and at kitchen tables late at night when we're talking honestly with the people who get it. The new dictionary has different words. Clear-eyed, honest, tired in ways that have specific causes. Working on it. Done with lectures. Hand the new dictionary to each other. Use it. The old one was theirs. The new one is ours. Eventually, it will be the only one in the room. They built the words to dismiss you. We're building the words to describe what they did. Different dictionary, Same fight.